Hi everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about God of War Ragnarok, a game by Santa Monica Studios that came out November 9th, 2022. I personally beat the game on November 30th, 2022. So not too long after it came out. Before I go into the game, Ragnarok itself, just my personal history with the game series. So when the game series God of War first came out for the PS2, I was aware about it. My friends were big fans of it, but I personally did not play it just because during that time I wasn't a big fan of I wasn't a big fan of the action genre, nor was I a big fan of being gratuitous with sexual scenes with no narrative purpose for it. In other words, just for sex sake, for having sex in it. And yeah, as I got older though, I became much more open minded. And even not just with video games, but also with TV shows, movies, even comics and things like that. Even though it has sexuality, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, quote unquote. Even if it's just there for it to indulge the reader, that doesn't necessarily mean that we should discount it, right? I actually didn't play God of War into the 2018 release, the reboot of the series, simply titled God of War. And I was shocked to discover how so many people were impressed by the characters and the storytelling. Here I am thinking, what? A game that's based on action with actual character arcs, actual themes, symbolism. This can't be the same series, right? So I decided to check out the game myself, and lo and behold, I enjoyed it a lot. The story was great, and I was really looking forward to the sequel, which is Ragnarok. So I guess I just wanted to get that out of the way just to essentially explain that I'm not a God of War diehard fanatic. In fact, I would consider myself just to be a average fan. I do enjoy the series, but again, I did not come from playing the original series. I am playing the original right now. I do have it on my PS3. And currently, I did beat the first one, but I'm replaying it again. I beat the first one after I beat God of War 2018. But I'm replaying the first one again because I stopped at the beginning of the second one, and I just want to experience everything with a fresh perspective. And playing something more than a year ago and then trying to get back into the series, I don't think that's too much of a fresh perspective. Anywho, though, now let's start talking about God of War Ragnarok. And I have to say that despite me having finished it November 30th and now being January 15th, so a month since then, as we think about the game, not just the game, the storytelling, but also the music here and there. I do look up, pardon me, Bear McCreary's the soundtrack composer. I do look up his songs from this game just because it was so great. It was awesome. I'm a big fan of even when something has great storytelling, great characters. If the soundtrack is not there, it could really hinder the experience. On the flip hand, though, even if the story is just average, the characters are not the best, having a great soundtrack could really help elevate the medium, be it a game, a movie, or a television show, and so forth, a play, and so forth, right? But yeah, so God of War Ragnarok, it tells the conclusion of the Nord saga. Essentially, is it saga the correct word? Part of the Nord duology, for sure, at the least two games, where we are going to come to the conclusion of Atreus' character as he becomes an individual who discovers that he is part god, not just human, and what that entails and what that means, and especially in his role in the end of times Ragnarok, and what that means from him as an individual. What is he accountable for? What is he responsible for? And a lot of the villains were great. I went in neutral for the most part. I knew Thor. If you guys beat the first one, you know that the secret ending contains Thor, right? He's holding his hammer. He has his hammer, his hand next to his hammer with electricity sparking out. And that's essentially doesn't begin at that part, but shortly soon you'll see that scene. And they do such a great job of integrating it from the previous game. It feels really fleshed out. And they also do a great job of subverting expectations. I think most people knew that some characters wouldn't be villains throughout the whole series, but they did a good job of making it believable, of seeing how those characters have certain mindsets, but they also have personal ideologies that they want to focus on, despite their mindsets being influenced by other characters, other individuals. Odin as a villain was awesome. He was really great. I know a lot of people were kind of complaining about his New Yorker or kind of like mobster accent, but I was fine with him. Who the actor who portrayed Odin did a great job of making you want to be on his side, um, essentially manipulating you. They did a good job of that, and of course all the other characters from who are returning: Mimir, Brock, Brock, Sindri, brain fart, Freya. I don't like saying brain fart. Pardon me. Lapse of judgment. Excuse me. Freya, Brock, Sindri. Um, Atreus, of course, Kratos, and yeah, I guess those are all the returning characters. Mimir, I don't think I'm missing anyone. Oh, Yogomander, but I suppose that's not really. I was thinking more about characters with vocal lines. But yeah, it really is. A lot of people also complain about the pacing. I think pacing is only really an issue one is doing on the side quests, and I think a lot of video gamers we have a tendency to want to do all the side quests. But I think if we have some self control and keep in mind essentially once you start getting bored of the side quests you want to continue the main story, I highly encourage you as an individual to go ahead and do so. There's no obligation to complete all the side quests. They're still going to be available at the end. With that being said though, just an FYI, there are some dialogue, I won't get into any spoilers, but there are some dialogue that's probably going to be present at the beginning of the game versus the end of the game just because of certain party changes. I'm trying to be vague on purpose, as to avoid spoilers. But yeah, so again, I think pacing is more of an individual issue. I did get quote unquote bored only because I was getting bored of doing. No, let me rephrase that. Bored is not the correct word. I was getting I wanted antsy. I was getting antsy to continue with the main quest, and I didn't feel like doing the side quests. And because of that, I found myself rushing a little bit. But when it came to the main quest itself, I was not rushing. I wanted to enjoy it. So again, that rush was not the correct. Or what did I use before? I can't recall now. But that was not the correct word to use. I was just feeling anxious to continue with the main story because again, Santa Monica Studios did a good job of wanting you, the player, to care about what's going to happen, what's going to occur with Atreus and this object that he's helping another character with. Again, I'm being vague on purpose. What's going to happen with Kratos and his own thoughts about what it means to be a god and what it means to be a god with a role in a prophecy. And essentially, in the grander scheme of things, just accountability and responsibility at the individual's level. We see that reflected in Freya's character, Sindri's character, and even Brock's character and how he reacts to certain revelations. So yeah, so even though it's now January 15th, I probably should have made this video a lot sooner. I'm still thinking about this game series. The way it ends, it has me excited for the future. It definitely Santa Monica Studios, and they wanted to create a series like Son of War or something like that. I definitely think they'll be able to do that. Why do I think that? Because Atreus is a fleshed out character. He's his own person with his own goals, his own fears, and his own tribulations. And they do a really good job of making Atreus not just an extension of Kratos, but as I said, as an individual, his own self. And then they also have the option to continuing Kratos' story, right? You have the God of War series, maybe Son of War, Forgiven of War, or something like that. I don't know, right? For the Sun series. But yeah, essentially, at this point, I'm just going to be rambling. These were just my brief thoughts. Not really brief thoughts. It's a slightly longer video. Well, not a slightly longer video, but I know. Essentially, I don't have a script when I come to do this. I just do this to share my thoughts. But if anyone wants to discuss God of War, because my goal is to hopefully create some conversation. If there's anything you want to discuss about the game, be it gameplay aspects, themes, the characters, the story itself, theories, please do let me know. You could do so in the chat or do so through other means, right? Like via live streaming and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. I do appreciate it. It's been a while since I've done a brief thoughts with the proper. Do I do scores? You know what? I don't think I am going to do scores. But what I will say, if you are interested in God of War, you should definitely check it out. If you're apprehensive about God of War, I definitely think you should ask yourself, what are you apprehensive about? And then just ask yourself, is that more of a individual's issue, as in, well, maybe you're being too judgmental. It's not a genre you're typically playing, but if you're intrigued by the story, maybe check out the gameplay. Right, a really quick example of this would be Digimon Survive. I don't typically play visual novels. Digimon Survive will be the first one where I'm doing so. Am I disappointed it's a visual novel? A little bit. Would I prefer that it's a typical traditional JRPG? Of course. Despite that, I chose to put my reservations aside and to check out the game, and I'm actually really enjoying it. For sure, Digimon Survive would be a video that'll be up, included with the brief thoughts. I don't know if anytime soon. Right now, I'm on part 6. Yeah, part 6. But yeah, anywho, thanks for listening. I do appreciate it. Take care and have a great day.